Okay, hopefully this is working, y'all. This is literally like my third attempt. Between today and 2 days, I've literally wasted about 2 hours filming this video over and over and over again. And this is, I guess, this is the life of a YouTuber. So let's start today's show. Let's pause. What's going on, everybody? I am your gracious host here again for the third time. I guess they say third time, Mr. Charm. I am DJ Kuda, right back at your helm. I said at your helm, at your service on today's show. Now I'm vocally messing up. I don't know why. Literally filmed this video about 3 times, so I'm feel a little bit discouraged. Hopefully it's filming because my encoder for some reason is messing up. But that's not what you're here for. You are here for what I'm about to show you. If you guys can kindly comment down below, or hit the links in the description to treat me to a coffee, because after today, that's what I'm gonna need. But on today's show, I'm gonna show you guys the game changer. I'm gonna show you guys exactly how to hook your OP1 into your OPZ, and also how to hook a MIDI controller into your OPZ and use it as the synth that it is meant to be. So without further ado, let's start today's show. Let's get into it. I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do what I'm telling you here, okay? Now, I stumbled on this trick because as you guys know, I would love an OP1 field, but I don't have the money to buy an OP1 field. Also, I'm traveling abroad. I am in Thailand, and a lot of people have been interested in the OP1, and I do love the OP1. I've started using it more. I have the same story as a lot of you guys. After a year and some change, or sometimes even a couple of months of owning it, I really just started diving into it once I started getting into sampling, which I wasn't into sampling before, but now I'm into it now, and it's good to have something here to use to sample. But as you guys know, the OP1, I wouldn't say has a limitation because it's really not that bad, but it only has 4 tracks. And it also has a bunch of unique and pretty dope, sequencers. But also, what's unique and a pretty dope and has a pretty dope sequencer in and of itself, and it's the main workflow of, of that synthesizer, is the OPZ. And this is a powerful synth, and it's funny that people always compare it to a television remote, because definitely is the size of a television remote. And what's also funny, why a lot of people come to that comparison, is because the colors, if you don't notice, are usually the same. You have red, you have green. I know this is an ashy remote. You have red, you have green, you have yellow, and you have blue. And look on the OPZ. You have red, you have green, you have yellow, and you have blue. So that's pretty cool. Like I said, Teenage Engineering, definitely my favorite synth company other than Electron. And not to drop names or anything, but just to kind of show you that the type of instruments that they make, pretty boutique. But on today's show, I'm gonna show you the number one way to hook a MIDI controller, or or your OP1 and your OPZ together, which this is definitely a powerful combo. And I really was thinking about giving up one track to basically use the sequencer on the OPZ instead of the sequencers that's built inside the OP1. Or you can put both of them together and come up with a different variety of endless melodies, which is pretty cool. Um, there's other modules that you can use for the OPZ, and you can get the line in module. I don't have that. I have the Rumble pack. You can get the OP Lab, because they discontinued the original OP Lab, which is like a hub that you just sit down and has a whole bunch of connectivity. And It goes back into what we've been talking about in the synth community about how we have a whole bunch of cables and how we have wires running here and wires running there. And I've seen a bunch of other YouTubers show you guys how to do this, but there's wires all over the place. Now, of course, this channel is the Messy Desk, and I'm showing you guys a bunch of synthesizers. I am a synthfluencer, but I wanted to show you the easiest and quickest way to control your OPZ with a controller or the OP1. So now that we're almost 6 minutes in, let's get to it. So what you would need, and the number one, these are a game changer, okay? So let's get straight into it. Make sure you guys watch this to the end. What you will need, and let me make sure I'm still live streaming because this really got me upset that I've live streamed this about a couple of times and it did not show up after I got off air, and I'm very upset about that. But anyway, let me show you exactly what you need to do what I'm telling you, okay? So that you don't have wires all over the place, so that it's a minimal setup. Of course, if you have these small portable items, you will want your setup to be minimum. These right here are a game changer. Quick story now, okay? I have an iMac, and it's actually right here, and this is the latest iMac, and it only comes with 2 USB-C ports. So I would have to use what's called a Midi hub, because a lot of the stuff that we still uses USB-A, not USB-C. And USB-C is what's in right now. It has the highest, universal busing system has the highest conversion rate, highest, send data back and forth very, very quickly. The times have changed, and you would have to get a dongle or some type of USB MIDI hub, basically, to split it. It's not like the regular iMac. I traded my iMac, like the like the big with the screen and everything and all the connectivity in the back. I traded that for a MacBook. My bad, I'm getting them mixed up. All of these names: OP1s, MacBook, iMac, Pocket Operator. It's a lot, right? Even if you look at the Kanye West stem player that was supposed to be made by Teenage Engineering, which I think turned into the TX6, USB-C to USB-C. Oh, man, I'm shaking my table. My bad, y'all. It's a hot day in Thailand, so let's get into it. So usually you would have to get some type of MIDI hub that will go from, and there's only 2 because you got to charge your laptop. So you will only have really 1 USB-C port to use, so you would have to get a something that will turn that USB-C cable into a regular USB cable. And I would get something like this, like a MIDI hub. But this MIDI hub right here, basically Amazon Basics. This is dated, but when you look at the USB cables, you have to look at the colors and stuff like that. I'll be trying to hook cameras and all kinds of different things into it because I am an influencer and I use cameras and all kinds of different things that I would have to hook into something like this. But if you know anything about USB, you have USB 2.0 and USB 3.0. So why am I saying that? Well, this is the thing. If we're going to do what we're doing on today's show, what we're really exploiting, and it's not really exploiting, it's basically using what you got, right? Not to get what you want, but it's basically using what you have, and it's making your connectivity a lot easier. Okay, so we're gonna be using the USB-C port on the OPZ to get all of this connectivity going, because this is a very deep and powerful synth. Both of these have very deep and powerful synthesizers. So the benefits of hooking these two together for a minimalist setup is awesome. All you need in this minimalist setup is the power cable that comes with your OP1, and all you need is what I'm about to show you, is what you're gonna hook into the USB-C port of the OPZ. Now let me tell you something now, and I wish Teenage Engineering definitely would kindly, bless influencers like myself with one, because I have a lot of people in Thailand wondering what this is, and they're like, hey, I definitely would like to buy one, right? You can actually use this trick for you. I'm pretty sure it works because all of the MIDI data, and definitely, with these two ports right here on the OPZ, is to receive data. So if you have a three pronged cable like this here that you would use for your headphones, it's three pronged. I don't know if you guys can see it because this camera selectively wants to zoom in. Let me do this and let it zoom in real quick and then see if it'll show. There you go. Just a little bit. But anyway, if you have a three pronged cable like this that people use for headphones, it has to be three pronged. You can also, just like the OP1, route your audio into the OPZ if you want to sample, and it's the same thing. It can receive and give out power and data from its USB-C port. Okay, the OP1 field uses a USB-C port, so this not only works for the OPZ, but it also works for the OP1 field. So this is a quick and easy way to hook your OPZ into a MIDI controller, and also your OP1. So now, after I gave you guys that huge lecture, what do you need? Well, like I said, you need your OP1 cable, which is a small USB mini to USB cable, USB A. And I told you guys about USB 3.0, 2.0, and also USB-C. So what do you need to do all of these amazing things that I'm telling you? You need these. Yes, you need these. Okay? Now, you don't need all of them, but I wanted to talk to you guys about something. You need this. This is the most valuable, because I've seen so many YouTubers on the internet. I've seen so many YouTubers have all these cables running left and right and stuff like that. You don't need all of that. Maybe the only thing you might need other than this is the most valuable. This is the most valuable tool you will ever need if you own an OPZ or an OP1 field. Okay? This is all you need. Okay? When I bought my iMac, I bought one of these before I left the United States, before I got here in Thailand. And I know I've only paid like $15 for it. I paid $15 for one of these. Okay? And when I got here, don't go to the Apple store. They charged about $52 for one. And I knew, and I lost this in my luggage, and I knew it was somewhere, but I was like, okay, I'm out on the street. Let me just, stop by and get another one, another dongle, because, wouldn't hurt to have another one laying around. You know how as an electronic music producer, you have to keep cables and all kinds of dongles and all kinds of different, jacks laying around, and it's like Legos. You hook them into each other and you make some big elaborate setup, and sometimes it doesn't work because, if you're DAWless, you're routing audio all day. So you're no stranger to having all kinds of weird cables and dongles laying around. This is all you need. Now, the reason why I wanted to show you this is because, like I said, out here, I got one. I got two for $8 instead of $54. So make sure you guys go around and check out how to get a USB-C to USB-A converter, because that's all you need. You don't need these big MIDI setups and stuff like that. If you can get a USB cord into your MIDI controller, and I'll show you another cool trick. This is all you need to hook it into your OPZ. This will allow you to hook the OPZ into anything if you can get this dongle right here. Now, what I wanted to show you was these three colors here, because like I told y'all with the MIDI hub, some of these MIDI devices, and not even MIDI devices, these USB cables, some are 2.0 and some are 3.0. The one with the blue, those are 3.0, And I'm seeing like other ones with funky colors like purple and white and all these other different colors, but the ones with the blue, those are 3.0. Now, you're routing electronic music. I would say both are good, but I would say go with the 3.0 because you're routing it to USB-C, and you never know the conversion. When you're sending and routing sounds somewhere, you might have latency issues. You know what I'm saying? And then if you're using something like the OP1 field, or you're using something like the OPZ, when you're sending music and receiving music and MIDI data and things of that sort, you wanna have the most strongest connection that you can have, and you don't wanna hit a key and then it sounds a little bit later, or it rings off a little bit later, especially if you're performing live or you're doing something live. So you definitely want to have the fastest connection. So I would say use a USB 3.0, but on today's show we'll be using a 2.0 just to see if it works. But you can also expect a 3.0 to perform better. But this is all you need. Now you're done. I mean, and the thing about this the OPZ is that it sends power via the USB cable. So the funny thing is that, and I'll show you guys another fun fact and another trick. If you want to know if your battery on your OP1 is charged or charging, or how much battery life you have left, you just press this button right here, and there you go. See how that lights up? It's at red now, and it's at red now. It wasn't at red before because I plugged it into this OPZ and realized for the second time that I wasn't recording. So hopefully all of this is getting recorded. I'm going through great lengths to bring you guys this content. So you guys are enjoying the information and have gotten any type of, definitely this is valuable information. I don't see anybody really showing this in 2022. Definitely treat me to a coffee, or support the channel. Link in the description, and the link is also right here, or PayPal in the description if you guys could treat me to a coffee. Now let's get into it. Another thing you can use, which I've seen another guy use, but I think this is more efficient, is they have like a small little bit that goes from USB-C and it can take in the USB-A. So you can also get that small bit. The reason why I say this is more efficient is because, yeah, you can get that small bit that will turn your USB-A to USB-C, but you might not be able to plug in your headphone cables, So like I said, as an electronic musician, we have gear laying around, and sometimes these little cables, they be having like, a wide, the 3.5 jack is not that big, but like this cable that I'm using here as an aux cord, yeah, it it can take up space. So if you have that bit laying right here, you might not be able to get your headphone cables in. And the thing is that when you're using the OP1, and let me show you guys another trick. And I don't know why I turned it on, but hopefully it works. You want to plug your OP1 in, and this is the minimalist setup to get these two machines talking to each other, because thank God Teenage Engineering turned the OP1 last year into a MIDI controller. So you don't need the huge MIDI controller that I'm about to show you guys, which isn't a huge one, but it's basically showing you how to really do what I'm telling you guys what to do. So now, all right, so I have a sample playing. What I would want to do is I want to turn this back off and turn it back on so that it knows it's receiving, so that we know it's receiving MIDI data, right? So now we have, my bad for the table rumble. Now we have everything hooked up. So I have a sample playing here. Hold on, let's see. And the chord is going here, but you guys really can't hear it. So it's like, and it's going because I don't have the module. I don't have the OP Lab module or the line in, or the I have the Rumble pack. All right. They discontinued the bigger OP Lab, which is like a hub that sits down and it has the connectivity and stuff like that, i.e. more wires. All you really need is this dongle and literally this your regular OP1 cable cord, and just make sure your OPZ is charged. That's really all you need, because your OPZ will be sending battery power for some reason, and we have a little bit of battery. Your OPZ will be sending battery power to your OP1. If you look at it, the OP1 is charging right here, which is crazy. Now, this is not the type of show where I'm going to show you the MIDI setup, but what I will show you guys is that oh, you guys can't hear it because it's plugged in. So it is triggering, but you guys can't hear it because it's plugged in. I felt it vibrating. Okay, so let me my bad. I had channel 3 muted. My bad. So what I'm gonna show you guys is this. You know, when I press the buttons here, you can hear the button coming from. You can hear the sounds coming from the OPZ. Now, I think the best way to do this is have 2 aux cables. You know, but not even. Because I'm filming this and I want you guys to hear it. There's a sound coming from the OP1 when I press this button, and there's also a sound coming from the OPZ when I press this button. So it's safe to say 2 sounds are triggering at the same time. Some people may want that. I mean, you can. I mean, I don't know if you can. You know, set it up to where that doesn't happen, but you know, some people may want, you know, 2 sounds triggering. So if I was to do a show like today, how I would have to have it set up is I would have to have the volume from the OPZ going back into here, and I guess I would have to hit the line button so you can hear it here, and then it can tape it. I can tape that sound to the tape here if I want to use this as the synth and this as the brain. You know, you have the brain, you have the slave or whatever, right? I know I don't make up these terms, y'all. But I would have to run this aux cord into here, so basically you'll get the sound. Now, you don't want 2 sounds triggering at the same time, so what you guys have to do is turn down this encoder right here, because I have a sample playing on the track that's on track 4 that's and you can see the tape kind of just fidgeting because it's reading the BPMs of the OPZ. When I press play, also you can see the if you can see when I press play, you can see that it's going definitely it's going down the it basically they're controlling each other. But what I'm saying is that when I trigger a button here, you're hearing that from the OPZ. Also, you know, like chords. But you will have to turn down your track noise with the red encoder on the OP1 so that you don't have 2 things going at the same time. But I guess 2 things are going to be playing, but I mean it's what you can hear and what you paste onto the tape. But you can definitely use this as a controller. You can definitely absorb this into this as another synthesizer or a drum track. What I will be using it for is basically like the OP1 has a bunch of cool sequencers. This will just be another sequencer, and I'll probably have it on 1 track, or probably use the synthesizers from here to be on another track, which is pretty cool. Another thing also too is that I've downloaded a whole bunch of patches, from OP Fun, and I really appreciate Teenage Engineering, and I appreciate all you guys in the synth community for uploading, like, Rhodes and Eider and all these other patches that's been out for a long time, because who wants to buy this huge grand piano and these, people are like, oh, these machines cost too much. But yeah, but you know what? I mean, for what you get and how you can map and do certain things, it's really not that bad. It's actually not that bad at all. It's actually a plus. But anyway, speaking of controlling, okay, so now that we have this figured out, what I want to do is I want to turn off the OPZ, because I want to show you guys one last thing before we get out of here. And if you guys are liking and enjoying the show, make sure you guys subscribe. I definitely should separate this channel from my other content, because I know you guys will probably be a fan of this content and probably not a fan of the other content, but I definitely will. So, like I said, you have a controller. I don't know why Akai does this, but then again, their MPC lines, they take USB. But we have this MPC right here, mini, the IK, not MPC, but Akai MPK mini. And like I said, to get these things to work. Oh, also, let me give you guys the game. For the OP1, because I'm forgetting a lot of stuff that I included in the last show. For the OP1 to be able to MIDI control, a bunch of other synths, it's really hard to get this thing to MIDI control anything because of the USB. You understand what I'm saying? So to get it to control other synths, especially DAWless, you can use a computer, to basically, you USB it into your computer, and you can basically route the audio that way, and then you can route the audio out of a computer into, let's say like your Digitone or somewhere, via another program. Or you can get this, which is Do Re Midi, or you can get one from Kenton. I'm giving y'all a bunch of gems on this show. Which is a MIDI hub. How MIDI works is basically is to get the machines to talk to each other, and basically, the machine is like, hey, here's, it gives the other machines, a set of controls. Hey, this is this key, this is that key. It sends a lot of information. The thing is that when you're trying to USB something into something, it doesn't really speak the same language. So you're going to need a host or a hub to regulate what's being said, especially if you want your OP1, like I wanted my OP1 to talk to my Digitone. So I would have to have this MIDI hub. I would have the USB coming out of the OP1 going into here, which is the hub host right here where the USB is, and then I would have the MIDI cable going out, going into the Digitone or whatever else I'm trying to control with the OP1. Or same thing with this. This controller, it's USB. So I really can't just hook this up to anything like you can do with another controller that has a MIDI cable. I would have to use a USB hub like this, and have another set of power going to this USB MIDI hub, and then this will take what this is sending to it, make it make sense, send it to another device, and that way I'll be able to control the other device. But on today's show, what we're doing is we're exploiting, and I wouldn't say exploiting, we're using the USB, MIDI port from the USB-C on the OPZ. And like I said, it sends power and it sends MIDI information. So all I would need to do is take this Akai MPK Mini, and I mean you can do this with other bigger, controllers, but I don't think the not the Digitone, but I don't think the OPZ can power all of those other controllers. But to show you how much of a beast this synthesizer is, and is not a toy, you know what I'm saying? Even though, like I said, it looks like your remote. It's about the same size. They got the color scheme. You know how you got the the different color schemes. They got the same color schemes. So what I'm saying is that all I got to do now is basically turn the OPZ back on, and once I turn it on, look at that. It powers up this this controller right here. And it has to send power to charge or power something up, which makes sense. It has to send power to whatever device is sending out, because this is the only port that it has, the only two ports. So both of these can send and receive, which is pretty smart. And the cool thing too is when you use the arpeggiator, you can tell that it's working, because look at how it just changed. Like, look, everything is kind of moving around here when you're using the arpeggiator. So that's pretty cool. And does it receive data? Oh, can't tell because this channel's off, but here you go. Now, the cool thing about the OPZ, and which a lot of people would say is a setback, is it double trigs, right? Because this is the keyboard here. It's not like a regular keyboard. But let me show you how powerful it is to hook up a controller to the actual to the actual synthesizer, which is the OPZ, is because when you press the buttons here, and it's probably clipping. It's going to be loud, it's going to be loud. It's going to play it all in one tone. And I was wondering, okay, well, why does it play in one tone? Well, the thing is that these are regular keys. These aren't velocity sensitive. And not only does it save you time, I'm not sure what percentage, but I'm pretty sure it cuts your music making in a considerable amount of time by hooking up a controller to it, because these keys on this MPK Mini are actually velocity sensitive. Now, maybe I can one day figure out how to use the pressure pad or MIDI map this thing to really use the pressure pad, which will make this thing even more powerful. And it's working well with the 2.0 connection. That's another thing that I want to show you guys. But definitely get the 3.0 because you don't want to introduce any type of latency and stuff like that. But anyway, it turns this thing into a grand piano, no matter how small it is. Even with this Akai MPK Mini, you could put this in your backpack and put this in your pocket. It's still a minimalist setup. You just got to make sure this thing is charged, because you probably only have like an hour, which is still a good amount of time worth of jamming before you got to worry about the battery going down. Okay? And the battery is at like 25%, like 75% or maybe 70%. So it's not bad. What was I about to say? Okay. So with the keys, and I have this on the arpeggiator, instead of how like you guys can punch in the keys here on the sequencer and it's all one note, and a lot of people don't like, because one of the, I wouldn't say it's a setback or a con, but it is something that, well, it lets you know that your OPZ is official and it comes from Teenage Engineering. A lot of times when you use these keys, they double trig, which means they trigger 2 times, especially if you're not using something like the arpeggiator or the arpeggio. Or, or like when you use a chord, you know what I'm saying? You want to be able to use, you don't want it to double, you don't want it to double trig. I know it's not going to do it now because I'm live, but if you're jamming or you're doing a live show, because you can definitely rock out live shows with just this one little remote, which is pretty dope. And people will be amazed by all the sounds that's coming out of it, because it looks like a toy when it's really not. You don't want it to double trig, especially if you're keying something in live, or you're trying to kind of glide across the keyboard and you're trying to record and stuff like that. You don't want it to double trig. So that's another benefit of hooking up a controller to it. Also, I would say that it's not velocity sensitive, because when you press it, it gives you the full sound. Of course, if you hold it, you can get more sound out of it, and that's pretty cool. But to have a softer, more smoother sound, your keys have to be velocity sensitive. So like I said, when you're punching this in on the sequencer, you probably have to turn down the resonance. You're probably going to spend more time turning wheels, trying to get a smoother sound out of certain sounds, or play with the ADSR so it's more smooth, depending on how you go about getting that smoother sound. Whereas if you get a nice mini keyboard or controller, especially this MPK Mini, I've never seen anybody use this for the the OPZ. And I've watched a ton of videos before I've even owned this thing or the OP1, and I've never seen this setup. So this is a gem of a show. Been streaming for about 35 minutes. I want to thank you guys for kicking it with me. Definitely like and support the channel. If you would like to do that, definitely you can hit this Cash App right here, or you can hit the PayPal down in the description. But before I leave, I will give you one more gem about the velocity keys. This will help you, map out your jam a lot quicker instead of turning wheels, because you can now, lightly, even though it's a little bit low, and I might have to turn this up, you can lightly strum the keys, or if you want it to be loud or louder, then when you regularly press a key, you can definitely key it in rough. You can definitely key it in rough here on this controller. So this basically shows you the benefits of hooking your controller into your OPZ. Now, I've seen people do this with bigger controllers. Pretty sure they have endless dongles. Pretty sure they have big grand setups, and it's just funny that when you think about a synthesizer that doesn't come with the keyboard, you think about this big Behringer Model D, or the Crave, or some type of Moog, or or Moog, however you want to pronounce it, or you think of some type of big grand piano, and it's like you're getting all of those little sounds out of this. And like I said, I thank the community for uploading like Juno sounds and DX8 or JD08s and all these different piano sounds and samples that either sounds very close, and a lot of people can't tell, or if not better, on these little boutique instruments that Teenage Engineering has created for us. So I find that dope. So we killed a couple of birds with one stone on today's show. I want to thank you guys for kicking it with me. So on today's show, overview, taught you guys how to hook your OPZ into your OP1 and use your OP1 as a controller, which is considerably smaller than this MPK Mini. And you can just take both of these and just, take both of these with you. Make sure your OPZ is charged, and make sure you have your cable that comes with your OP1 to basically get this minimum setup. I'm gonna try to at least go to some type of Buddhist temple and sit down and jam. Hopefully I can get it on camera, being very respectful of the Thai people here. But this right here is the star of the show. This is all you need. You need your OP1 cable, and you need this, okay? In 2022, we're going minimalist, and what I'm saying is that you don't need all of those cables. You don't need all of those big grandiose 15 MIDI HDMI cords, or 15 MIDI cords and dongles here and there, and routing all of this audio, and then stuff like that you never know. I mean, we're using these things. I mean, it could damage your equipment. You know what I'm saying? So you get something like this, which is a USB-C to USB-A dongle, and like I said, they got the little they have the the dongles that are like just like this big old patch that comes right here, but then you might not be able to plug in your headphones. So I think this is the best one because it's very skinny, even though it is kind of wide. But some of these are more wider than others. The 2.0 ones are more or less wider than the 3.0 ones. I don't know why. But this is the star of the show. And then, like I said, you guys aren't probably doing an actual show. I mean, if you guys are actually doing a show, you would have to get a aux cord to reroute the audio back into your and that's nothing new in the electronic world, but you would have to get the aux cord to reroute the audio back into your OP1, so that way you can get the sounds and you can get the sequencer, and you can also assign that to one track and basically just use your other tracks is probably drums to complicate your drum setup with the sequence that you have going on your OPZ. And you can use the other two tracks for synths or bass. And if you're recording a show like this, then your audio routing would be, okay, this is MIDI controlling the OPZ. The OPZ is sending sound back into the OP1, and then the headphone cable from the OP1 will route out from the OP1 into your let's say your mixer or whatever you have, capturing the sound. And that way you can capture both sounds of both synths and take what the OP1 is doing and route that to where your speakers or whatever you have going on, and that will help you mix and master. And if I'm not mistaken, if I'm not mistaken, the OPZ is stereo. It's stereo from what I know. You understand what I'm saying? So, hopefully Teenage Engineering blesses me. I've been wink wink nudge nudge. I've been hopefully a TX6 or maybe a OP1 field, but I'm giving you guys some valuable information. If it works with the OPZ, it will work with your OP1 field, but what I'm showing you guys is that if you want your drums and stuff like that and your synths to sound pretty good, hey, I mean, you know what? I don't know if that's really true, because I was about to say, hey, you can get a stereo sound, but or maybe you can figure out how to flip the MIDI, because both of them receive MIDI. Maybe you can get the OPZ to be the brain, and you could take some of these OP1 sounds, route it into the OPZ. And, and I think that does work, because I think I did press a button on the OPZ and it triggered the OP1. But we don't know. We'll do another show maybe. Make sure you guys comment down below what you think, your thoughts. But I was trying to figure out a way how to get around to get your OP1 to go from mono to stereo, and maybe that's the way to do it, because I remember the OPZ is stereo, and if you're running it into your OP1, I'm not sure if that converts it to mono or if you get that kind of stereo sound from it. But then again, like I said, you can always pan your sounds left and right and get a stereo sound out of it. It's not true stereo, but it is pretty close, so that if you guys don't have an OP1 field, you don't have to go through that. Also, something that I like to do and to get a stereo sound out of the OP1 is I audio route it, not MIDI it, even though I can now that I have this Do-Re-Mi MIDI host, Do-Re-MIDI. You can also route the sounds into the microcosm. I have a microcosm, and the microcosm will definitely give you some stereo / reverb / surround sound that's amazing. Well, anyway, I am DJ Kuda. I am your gracious host for today's show. Please like and subscribe, support the channel, and definitely create something great. We out. It's Player Talk.